The Super Media Bros podcast is a founding member of the Odd Pods Media Network.
Super Media Bros.
I'm pretty positive we've already covered a couple of these things before. And once again, card changes.
Yeah, fuck you, Warrior. Let it be known that I was a huge Warrior fan growing up, and I still fucks with him. For better or worse, he has given us unlimited energy as well as entertainment. But fuck this guy. You changed the whole fucking card.
True enough. And with that, welcome to episode 249 of the Super Media Bros podcast. I'm Richie.
I'm Devin, and this is Eugene.
Yeah, and Loki has exited the office. We are kicking off Rage in the Nick Cage November. Yes, we realize there's no special art. Yes, I realize that is my fault. But also at the same time, what do you even put to properly represent Nick Cage and the Rage Cage? Because we're doing both Nicolas Cage films and wrestling, because of course we are. Like, why wouldn't we? We're kicking it off with 1992's Survivor Series. Yes, the WWF Survivor Series from 1992. We are still on our 30-year time machine back in the day with the WWF, which continues next year with 1993 and so on and so forth. But we're finally here. I cannot believe how quickly this year has gone by.
You're telling me.
The fact that we are about to talk about some of the matches on this pay-per-view with some of the wrestlers obviously still in the company making, their card spots known as we get into it now. When we first started, it was the 1992 Royal Rumble, and Jim Neidhart and Owen Hart came out and they were like, hey, we're a fucking tag team in these really 90s looking, get-ups or whatever. And then we spoke about how Jim Neidhart just kind of disappeared, got a really big-ass suntan, and came back and was Coco Beware. However, we didn't get to see High Energy until this pay-per-view, because the opening match were the Head Shrinkers against High Energy. Old Papa Oos.
Yeah, we saw him in his very rare skinny form.
Yeah, along with manager Alpha, who was just noshing on some fucking turkey the whole time. That was like the highlight of this entire match.
Yes.
Was watching Alpha just munch the fuck out of this turkey.
Honestly, that was one of the highlights of the whole show.
Yeah, true enough. True. And that's what the fucked up part is like you've got the talent, you've got the roster that I know, like I grew up on, and I see these names on paper and I'm like, fuck yeah. And then you look at the pay-per-view itself and you're like, man, there's maybe like 3 good matches on the whole card.
Which is weird, but everything felt entertaining.
Sure.
Like, it was never a boring show. It was just like...
It felt like a glorified house show.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
And I know that speaks to a lot of people's opinion about the WWF in the 90s, how it was, to them, it was... and I guess because I grew up on it, was always a diehard, I didn't see it this way. But looking back, you can definitely tell that in the 90s, people were right. The WWF was kind of lackluster. Really, if you think about it, they had this weird transitional period between the era of Hogan and then the Attitude Era. So it was like, what do you fucking do?
Right.
You do the new generation thing that happened a few years after this, but I digress. The Head Shrinkers go up against High Energy in the opening match, which was like 7 minutes and 40 seconds. And really, in my opinion, highlighted Owen Hart once again. Mm-hmm. It's always good to see Owen, even in the classics and shit like that. It's always good to see him. But, dude.
He definitely should have had a run with the strap.
Sure. Yeah, he absolutely should have. The Head Shrinkers whooped that ass by pinfall at 7 minutes and 40 seconds. It was a very great opening contest.
Yeah, like that was one of those matches where I was like, damn, for 92, they were fucking going.
That's what I'm saying. They was on fire. And then up next, this next match should be redemption. If you guys had listened to our WCW 1992 Halloween Havoc review, you'll understand what we mean when we say this. If you haven't listened to it, just go either listen to that real quick or just Google the coal miner's glove match between Sting and Jake the Snake Roberts.
Fuck that match.
Absolutely fuck that match, but this match is the Big Boss Man versus Nails, who we famously watched on SummerSlam 1992. And I want to say Nails was in the Rumble. Maybe he was in the Rumble. There were so many people, dude.
I cannot for the life of me figure out if I unironically or ironically love Nails.
Dude, same. Because the interview that he cuts prior to this.
Oh my God.
So for those of you out there, if this is your first time listening to one of our wrestling reviews, or if this is your first time listening to us, period, Nails and the Big Boss Man are wrestling each other in a nightstick on a pole match. The Big Boss Man is obviously Ray Traylor, who portrayed the Big Boss Man, who was supposed to be a Cobb County, Georgia sheriff, complete with the get up and the really ridiculous theme song. Nails plays a Department of Corrections inmate who still wears the Department of Corrections inmate jumper. And then he has the most ridiculous voice to go with it. I just don't know, man. It felt like, okay, like it didn't feel like this was still the era of the larger than life characters where we had to suspend our disbelief and be like, okay, so I have to understand that this fucking sheriff guy is going to wrestle in full-blown cop uniform, and he's going to wrestle a full-blown Department of Corrections inmate in full-blown inmate orange jumpsuit. This is somehow sanctioned by a fucking multi-million-dollar company, and we're going to just let these guys beat the piss out of each other with the nightstick if they should happen to get their hands on it. And it was like 5 minutes and 44 seconds, and it is exactly what it fucking turned out to be.
It's funny because it felt longer than 5 minutes.
Is that just because, like, it was slow, or was it kind of like, what the fuck am I watching? Is it more like that?
Both of them.
Like, yeah, like we're waiting on this shit to fucking end. Like, we were just waiting for it. I mean, Big Boss Man beats him by pinfall, but that's what made me laugh is the nightstick is legal, and they didn't even really specify that like the nightstick should be like part of, you know, what can be used. But I guess it makes sense in the context of, okay, if everything else is no disqualification, then it doesn't matter if you get the nightstick. But like it's when they get the nightstick or whatever, that's when, oh, you can fucks with the dude with the fucking nightstick. Because at one fucking point, I watched that damn referee count a fucking chokehold, or he counted some fucking, he counted the fucking rope break, and I'm just kind of like, dude, does it matter? You're watching a cop and an inmate beat the piss out of each other in a professional wrestling ring. Like, okay.
And there were still people that didn't know that it was a work.
Yeah. But yeah, Big Boss Man goes over in 5 minutes and 44 seconds. And the next match on the card, this is also where we're supposed to suspend disbelief, where we are to believe that a model has big time beef with a, quote, Native American, end quote. When you put it that way, dude, like you've got to understand, everybody out there listening, if you really fucking put it this way, then you may as well go back to the first fucking match, which was Head Shrinkers and High Energy, and say that we're supposed to believe that some very sexually confused people from the 90s have beef with a fucking couple of Samoans.
Whoo-wee, mama.
Man, they need better fashion sense, because Owen was still rocking the fucking 90s gear from the fucking Rumble.
That's right, he was. But then Coco
He doesn't have to drag Coco Beware into that shit,
yeah,
man.
Totally different gimmick.
Now, we've got fucking Rick the model Martel, going one-on-one with the, quote, the Native American Tatanka. You mean Chris Chavis?
Is that really his fucking name?
Yes.
I do have one question though. Chavez or Chavez?
No, it's like Travis, but with a CH instead of a TR. Chris Chavez.
Oh my dear God.
This dude has like the whitest fucking name.
Yeah, that's fucking Wonder Bread white. Motherfucker goes to fucking Jimmy John's and asks for extra mayonnaise on a sandwich. Motherfucker said, man, that Sprite from McDonald's, that shit's spicy.
I would love to give you some. Everybody out there listening is going to enjoy what I'm about to tell Devin right now. If you are a longtime fan of ours and you know my boy over here is a fins up for life.
Fins up.
All right. Did you know that during the 1987 strikes, Chris Chavez, a.k.a. the Native American Tatanka, went to the open tryouts for the Miami Dolphins and made the cut?
Wait, what?
And he turned it down.
Fuck you.
No, he turned it down because he was actually making more money selling memberships at the Bally's Health Club that he worked at.
Huh?
Yes, the fact that in 1987 he was going to make more money selling memberships at a health club than he would for the Miami Dolphins football team that he made the fucking cut for.
That I'm going to pretend I didn't know that last part. I'm going to pretend that the Dolphins are end all be all.
Then he left to pursue an accounting career. And he met Nature Boy Buddy Rogers at a video store while he was looking for wrestling tapes. Yeah.
What a fucking life.
Unfucking real, isn't it?
Oh my God. Hold on.
You know who his tryout match was with when he came to the WWF?
Huh.
Fucking Doink the Clown.
That's it.
It was a dude that wound up being Doink after the original guy.
You know how you can get custom made jerseys per team?
Do you want a Tatanka jersey for the Dolphins?
Yeah,
You
with
fucking
the 87.
You fucking need to do this shit.
Do I do Tatanka or do I do Chavez?
Tatanka Chavez. Just call him Tatanka Chavez. Or just put T Chavez on that bitch.
Bruh, that shit's gonna be fucking goated.
I'm telling you.
And you gotta do the throwback jersey for that one.
Oh, fuck yeah. So our honorary Dolphin T Chavez beats Rick the Model Martel by pinfall in 11 minutes and 7 seconds, which up until this point is the longest match on the card. And then the next match becomes the longest match on the card until, you know, we fucking get to the actual longest match on the card.
Dude, I hear you talking, but I'm still just fucking fixated on this shit.
I'm telling you, it's the most fucking randomly cool / pathetic piece of trivia that I probably have ever pulled on any of these guys.
Bruh, that's the most, like, Devin trivial fact I could have ever heard.
You're welcome.
What the fuck?
You're very fucking welcome, dude.
I needed that information.
I know you did. That's why I provided it for you.
Oh, my dear God.
Let's go to the match, which is next. That's the reason why at the top of this episode, we were like, well, they fucking changed the card. Because the original match was supposed to be Randy Savage and the Warrior, Ultimate Warrior, versus Ric Flair and Razor Ramon. But that didn't fucking happen.
What we ended up getting was still, like, oddly satisfying.
But because it actually made sense storyline, if you think about it. So let's give everybody the fucking rundown. Obviously, fucking Ultimate Warrior up and left and fucked this match all up. Because we saw the Warrior and Savage kind of come together at SummerSlam thinking, all right, now like they've got a common enemy in Ric Flair. And it's like, okay, well, who's Ric Flair gonna get? And it fucking Razor Ramon. And, you know, this should have been like a fucking big deal. And it could have been a big deal.
You know what's the wildest part about this match? Flair is probably, I don't have a quote on this. Flair was probably the oldest one in that lineup, and he's the only one still alive.
I know. Oh my God.
And no. I was going to say he probably lived the hardest life out of all of them, but Ramon's probably got him beat. Maybe. It's a toss-up. Who would you say lived the harder life, Flair or Ramon?
Dude, I hate to be this guy, but Ramon. Like, Scott Hall definitely lived a harder life than Flair, because, like, Flair knew his limits.
That's fair.
Scott depended on them, sadly.
I think that's what my question was kind of going towards, but I didn't articulate it.
No, I knew what you were saying.
Is the fact that Ramon was heavier with it, but Flair had the longer stint.
Mm-hmm. So here's the thing. Flair and Perfect were going to wrestle. Like, this was going to originally be Ric Flair and Mr. Perfect wrestling Savage and Warrior.
That would have been a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So now, like, as it had continued on, Flair started getting assistance from both Kurt Hennig and Scott, where he actually wins the world title back from Randy Savage, but he winds up dropping the belt to Brett in Saskatoon, just at a house show, and it wound up being like on one of the WWF home video releases or whatever.
Oh, that's pretty sick.
Yeah. I remember watching it. It was fucking cool. But then the WWF out of nowhere is like, oh, well, let's get Bobby Heenan announcing that he was informed that Savage or Warrior was going to have a new tag partner. And the reasons being is that either, and nobody has ever figured out which of these two reasons were exactly why. The reason that Warrior left was one of them being that he was fired for steroid abuse, which this was around the steroid trial scandal and all that shit. But the other reason is that he left on his own accord because he was pissed off with the company's plans for his character. Now, they basically had to change everything up, turn Mr. Perfect into a babyface character, which, I mean, I guess it kind of works out because Flair and Perfect always just kind of had that real weird relationship where like they were teammates, but you could see like the cracks forming and shit or whatever. And then on the recap on the pay-per-view, they actually show Savage asking Mr. Perfect to be his fucking partner.
Oh, that was a great segment, by the way.
Yeah.
I was
Oh my
so
God, when he fucking slapped him, when Bobby slapped Kurt and he just snatched him up by his tie and he was like, you fucking piece of shit. He just pours that whole goddamn thing of water on him and everything.
And the whole time, Vince is just sitting there like, yeah, that's what happened.
He's doing his fucking his little laugh like,
dog, you own the company. What is happening at this board meeting?
Like, you know, he fucking probably helped write that segment and thought it was the funniest shit that somebody was just going to get water poured on their fucking head because Vince always had like, he thinks the weirdest shit is funny. I mean, just look at his track record. Oh. And isn't it fucking weird to look at this shit and think, wow, this is now a completely different era where it's like, okay, as of like this year, we're officially no longer under the Vince McMahon era in WWE.
Yeah, dude, I'm really curious to see how like the first Mania without him is.
Right. And it's going to be nothing like any of this shit we've seen before or whatever. But this tag match, you know, for all intents and purposes, the way that it turned out from what we were supposed to get, it was not bad. And this was one of the good matches of the night. Obviously for the hype build behind it, but match quality, the talent in the ring.
Yeah.
And I did mention this off air before we started. Whenever I was younger, I remember watching SummerSlam and I remember like what they were going to set up, but I never saw what happened, you know, in between. So when I saw the fucking cover where it was like Savage and Warrior, I was like, why is Mr. Perfect on this other cover? Like, why am I getting different than what was advertised? What the fuck happened? Why is Mr. Perfect a good guy? Why is Razor Ramon a bad guy? Because you have to understand, when I went back to watch this, I had been watching that Razor Ramon was a babyface.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, why is he a bad guy? I mean, he's the bad guy, but why is he a heel? You know, it was just one of those fucking weird things as a kid. But anyway, yeah, this was a fun match. Ended by DQ, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but did most of Ric Flair and Mr. Perfect's matches end in a schmaz kind of fucking deal anyway? Like, it almost always ended that way. Or any type of feud that they had with each other or whatever. It just feels like that happened, or some kind of dumb shit was happening.
They had to protect their characters.
Protect those characters and protect the business.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's get on to the next match, which was a literal squash. It was Which I forgot to point this out. Speaking of squash, Bobby Heenan's instant replay shit.
With the fucking turkey.
Bruh, when he fucking, and I'm bringing it up here because he did it in the head shrinker high energy match whenever fucking Fatu jumped off the top rope and splashed Owen for the win. That motherfucker was like, here, you got a Thanksgiving turkey. And he drew a turkey around fucking Fatu. And he was like, and he draws over Owen Hart. You got a big pile of mashed potatoes. And I was like, you son of a bitch.
No, what cracked me up, dude, whenever he fucking did, he did Yokozuna's fucking leg.
Oh, he did him so dirty.
What did he say? He was like,
look at this big drumstick.
yeah.
Like, he fucking drew around his thigh and his fucking leg like a turkey drumstick. And I'll be goddamned if he didn't, like, fucking match size for size on that shit.
Dude, I was not ready. I didn't expect it. I fucking died.
I'm dying just because, like, this match ended in 3.5 minutes and fucking the goddamn sound that Virgil made when he got fucking like he fucking ran into fucking Yoke and you just fucking
Dude,
right on the
his
fucking ground.
shoulder. I was like, my man's is dead.
He fucking looked at too. Like, you just look at him on the ground and he's like, boss, no more. And Yoko's like, He just claps his hands together like, you fucked.
I really genuinely thought for a half a second, I was like, ah, shit, there goes his collarbone. Ain't no way.
Dude, this was still when Yoke was fucking like, okay, so you remember like closer to the end of Yoke's run in WWF where he kind of moved the guys a little closer to the turnbuckle to do the bonsai?
Yeah.
This was when he was, I can't believe I'm even saying it like this. The motherfucker was 505 pounds here, but he was still light enough to do it where he could jump from the second rope further out.
Was it that he was light enough or was he just a freak of nature?
He was kind of a freak of nature then. And that's the reason they hired him is because he was agile for having such a fucking trunk.
Oh, well, yeah, because, dog, he fucking lifted his legs and just super kicked that motherfucker in the face.
Like it wasn't shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is when he was jumping away from the turnbuckle and letting go of the rope and just fucking sitting on motherfuckers like, fuck you.
Fucking unit.
He legitimately squashes Virgil at 3 minutes and 34 seconds for the win.
What do you think Yokozuna's cock size was? Just compared to his drumstick leg, I feel like my man's was packing.
He probably actually was, dude.
No homo, but...
Oh, very homo. I mean...
What?
I mean, Homozuna. I'm telling you.
Okay.
I'm telling you. Yoke was a fucking man. I'm telling you.
He was pulling the women.
Dude, he was fucking BSK. Yeah.
My man's was clapping cheeks.
He was in the fucking Bone Street crew, man.
My man said, Shibuya, Shibuya, Shibuya.
Yeah. Like,
nothing but cheeks clapping, mac and cheese stirring, no pillow talk. My man's was down to business.
Mm-hmm. And then you hear all the stories about people that just, and we were talking about this too. Like,
whenever he shit himself?
Oh, it's more than just that, dude. You read Bret Hart's book, you hear Steve Austin tell stories, you hear Bret tell stories, you hear Undertaker tell fucking stories because, dude, Undertaker and Yoke were like really like best friends. Like they were close and shit. But some of the stories about Yoke, I feel like, man, these guys, they fucking did him so dirty. Bret in his book talked about how he felt sorry for Yoke because he said he walked in one time where Yoke had sat on one of the toilets and fucking broke the motherfucker and sliced his leg open on the goddamn porcelain and was crying on the floor covered in blood and shit. And Bret was just kind of like, he wasn't like making fun of him, but he kind of was. And I'm like, damn, you savage motherfucker.
What did he say?
I'd have to reread it like to actually get like the quote like correct, but he definitely was just like, I felt sorry for, you know, him, like he was in tears covered in blood and shit, you know, on this fucking toilet and everything. And I'm just like, it's fucking like just a visual I didn't want because, you know, Yoko outside of his character was like, you know, for people that are listening that don't know this, Yokozuna was part of the Inouye family. Like he was Samoan. And I think what Bret was saying is that Yoko was legitimately in real life like such a sweetheart that it sucked like seeing him like that, but he couldn't help but laugh at his predicament.
Yeah.
So
Like, how do you not laugh at a dude who just broke a toilet?
he bonsai dropped a deuce into that motherfucker.
And then he's rolling in his own shit.
And it apparently wouldn't be the first time, because Brett also told the story about how he was going to take the bonsai drop finisher from Yoko in the corner, and he looked up and he saw that Yoko had some leakage issues happening with his shit, and he noped the fuck out of there and just let Yoko take the bump right on his ass. And he said there was like, and he covered him, and he said there was like a shit stain on the fucking canvas right there. And I remember this specifically. He was talking about how they wrestled in another country where like he had some like Thai food, I think, or some shit, and like that was a contributing factor. And then there's the story about where Yokozuna body slammed Stone Cold Steve Austin so hard to the canvas that Austin actually shit himself. But Austin had the wherewithal to always wear black trunks, and he also had the wherewithal to look up at Yoko, and you can all listen to him tell this story. He just looks up at Yoko and he says, "Hey, let's go home, bruh." And then he says, Yoko just looks at him and says, "Okay, bruh," and fucking hits him with a leg drop and calls it a night, and he fucking rolled out of that bitch and went and cleaned himself off. But any fucking way, like the fact that we gone on a whole bit about a 3-minute and 34-second match because of one man's unfortunate disasters involving fecal matter.
We talked about this man shitting himself longer than the actual match.
And the match kind of shit itself too.
A little bit, but it's still pleasant to see both of those guys.
Oh, for sure, dude. And with that, we move on to the third longest match of the night, which just happens to be the only Survivor Series style match of the card. The Natural Disasters and the Nasty Boys go as a team with Money Incorporated and the Beverly Brothers. Just the fact that Bo Beverly came out of orbit long enough from his fucking SummerSlam fiasco. You all remember that if you listen to our SummerSlam review. Earthquake knocked his ass off that fucking apron and straight up into orbit when he squashed his brother. But I was not even close to being entertained by this match. And it was a fucking Survivor Series match. You know, the namesake of the pay-per-view. Just wasn't great, man.
I felt the same way, but I wasn't sure if it was just the lineup or if it was... I don't know.
This felt like the WrestleMania equivalent of get everybody on the card.
Yeah, that one Royal Rumble or the Battle Royale where it's like, so what's the purpose of it? You'll get a title match for the United States Championship. And it's like, okay.
All right, play, you going one-on-one with The Undertaker.
Yeah, like, I don't okay, whatever.
Yeah, and the fact that your tag team champions, Money Incorporated, were in this match, and there was only one championship match on the card, and we had 3 gimmick matches, including the Survivor Series match.
Oh my God.
Think about that. And you only had like 2 straight up tag matches, and one of them was a special attraction co-main event, and the other one was like, hey, we really need Owen and Coco to go out there and fucking get this crowd hype as shit.
There was really only one title match.
Yeah, because your tag champions were in the Survivor Series match, and your Intercontinental champion was the challenger to the world title.
I want my money back.
I'm so happy I didn't pay money for this. But yeah, the Natural Disasters and the Nasty Boys win the Survivor Series match. It was quite forgettable, to be honest with you. So we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back for the final 2 matches, which did they save this pay-per-view? Or did they not contribute anything?
We finna find out.
Yeah, we finna find out hard. It's never too early to play holiday music, and it's never too early to start thinking about gifts. Whether it's for a friend or the friends in your pants, you can make this a season to be jolly about with Manscaped. Do your little drummer boy a favor and use the Lawnmower 4.0 to avoid another silent night in the bedroom. Then you can add in Manscaped's top-of-the-line shower products to have people thinking, all I want for Christmas is you. Santa cares about his sack, and frankly, so should you. Look nice when you get naughty by going to manscaped.com using our code SUPER for free shipping and 20% off. Manscaped's Platinum Package 4.0 is the one-stop shop for the man who deserves it all. It's got everything needed to help you deck the halls from your face to your balls just in time for mistletoe season. The Platinum package has every product from the best-selling Performance package, plus the Ultra Premium Body Wash, the Ultra Premium 2-in-1 Shampoo and Conditioner, and the Ultra Premium Deodorant. It's the best way to smell fresh from your Santa hat to your candy cane. The Lawnmower 4.0 Body Trimmer and the Weed Whacker Nose and Ear Hair Trimmer are both designed to protect your delicate presence. Plus, they're both waterproof, so there's no issue clearing the snow out of your driveway. There's also a 4000K LED light on it so that you can light the way just like Rudolph. And now that you've groomed your candy cane, it's time to make sure that you don't smell like a reindeer with the Platinum package's shower products. All of Manscaped shower gear is sulfate-free, vegan, and it's made to have your skin feeling hydrated and smelling fresh. But smelling good does not stop at the shower. The Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Toner can solve all the stank problems all day long. Once they touch your sack, you'll never go back. The Platinum Package 4.0 sitting under the Christmas tree is guaranteed to put anybody in the holiday spirit. And for the perfect stocking stuffer, add the brand new Body Buffer. Yes, a body buffer. It's an incredible body scrubber that makes exfoliating easy, and it's a lot cleaner than that nasty old loofah. Jingle your balls and get 20% off plus free shipping with our code SUPER at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com using our code SUPER. Get ready for the holidays and deck your balls. Hey, there's no better way to spread holiday cheer than by upgrading your style for all to hear. If you're not familiar with Vincero yet, they make exceptionally crafted and stylish watches at affordable prices. Other premium handcrafted watches just don't fit the everyday person's budget. You can finally own a high quality and lasting timepiece without going broke. So if you're looking for the perfect holiday gift to help elevate your style or someone you love, save 20% off plus free shipping site-wide with our exclusive link, www.vincerocollective.com/super. That's VINCEROcollective.com/super. Now you may be asking yourself, who are Vincero? Well, Vincero Collective is a premium lifestyle brand based out of San Diego that also makes high quality and affordable sunglasses, jewelry, and much more. Trust us when we say the sunglasses are definitely out of this world. Shades on is not just a catchphrase for us. Vincero's goal is to help the everyday person accessorize their outfits with premium products at a price that makes total sense. Everything is designed in-house, sourced from their own materials, and they produce it in small batches. They're committed to doing things well, or just not at all. For all the boss men and women out there, the watches are a must. They can elevate your look with a twist of the wrist. Made with surgical-grade stainless steel, durable silicone, and Italian marble straps, these sleek modern watches come with reliable automatic and Japanese quartz movements. Again, their sunglasses? Amazing. They come polarized with handcrafted frames and so many styles to choose from. They're also changing the luggage game. They just launched their commuter bag, which is a fantastic bag. I actually have this and I will be using it for future travels. This is the ultimate travel bag specifically designed for somebody that likes to look good while traveling. And the product is made of 100% recycled nylon material, so it's very lightweight and you can support a sustainable cause. The thing I actually like the most is the pass-through strap. So you can actually sit it on top of your suitcase hands-free. It's a traveling game changer. And if you're worried that somebody won't like this gift, it's not even a problem. Whether you need to return it or swap it, there is a 5-year guarantee and a 365-day free return policy that's got you covered. So whether it's a gift for yourself or somebody in your life, add Vincero to the top of your wish list. Get 20% off plus free shipping site-wide with our exclusive link, www.vincerocollective.com/super. Again, you can support our show and check these guys out at VINCEROcollective.com/super. Look good, feel good, and save big this holiday season with Vincero.
This is Beer in Front. Every week I'll talk about a beer that maybe we've forgotten along the way while we get those check-ins and badges. Being the Chicago beer guy, I'll also talk about great craft beer in the city of Chicago. And remember, sometimes the beer in front of you is the best one yet. That's Beer in Front, part of the Odd Pods Media Network.
And we're back, and we're going to get into what eventually becomes casket matches, but we're going to call it a coffin match. And it's The Undertaker versus Kamala, which is a rematch from their SummerSlam fiasco, or shenanigans, or what have you, because that wasn't really a match.
Yeah, it was so dominant that it's kind of like, dog, why do you still want the smoke?
No shit. Like, Undertaker's entrance was longer than the actual match itself at SummerSlam.
Dude, that's like, okay, Eugene is such a baby. Like, he's still such a small little puppy because he's so young. Coco's a big cat. And every fucking time, Coco fucking folds this man like a lawn chair. And this dog keeps getting up and wants more smoke. That's fucking Kamala. Even though he's scared of my mans.
He's taking it to him.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm impressed. I respect it, but also, what are you doing?
For real. And I missed seeing stuff like this when they showed the video package, getting the match all hyped up and shit. And then you got Paul Bearer narrating shit while The Undertaker has like blueprints in this weird like outdoor barn warehouse looking shit. Like, it's straight out of a Western, bruh. And he's just fucking like old school, like wood shaving with another piece of wood, this fucking plank, trying to build this coffin.
I promise you this was all Mark Calloway.
Oh, absolutely.
That was his tool shit with his actual tools making something. And he's like, well, hey, I've got this project out back. We can film it and like, cut some stuff up and it'll look like I'm doing a coffin.
Yeah, he probably actually did this. And I'm going to mimic exactly what Mark would do. I mean, I'm talking like his fucking can of spit and everything. All right, Vince, I got a whole tool shed in the back and a shitload of wood. If you just bring the camera crew down and I'll save you a couple bucks. Well, goddamn, Mark, you got a deal? I'm telling you, that's exactly how that fucking conversation done went.
God damn, dude. Fucking Texan.
So, I just want to say that I would love to have the schematics of Kamala's dead corpse, because that's what it was, Kamala's dead fucking corpse in this casket on the blueprint. I would love to have the schematics of that redone and framed, because whoever did that did a phenomenal job.
Yeah. It's one of those unspoken little things about various wrestling programs.
It's like all about the details, man.
Yeah, somebody drew that.
Yeah, I was going to say somebody in marketing drew it, and it was good enough that Vince was like, this passes. And if, for all that Vince McMahon is and was then, for as much shit as we talk about, all the fucking horrible crap he's done, there were some really good ideas that either came from him or got approved by him. This being one of them, as small of a detail as it was, it definitely added to it. But I digress. We get in this fucking match, and just like you said, dude, Kamala was spooked as fuck by this man. This man done come out with a fucking double deep casket built out of wood with purple, and that motherfucker had that nice motherfucking Prince purple colored inlining.
That shit was looking good.
Bruh.
That looked comfy. I'm not gonna lie.
My motherfucker done run out, opened that coffin, and he looked at fucking Kamala, and he's like, I'm about to serenade your ass. Purple pain. Purple pain. He's about to fuck you up, man. And they proceed to have a pretty decent match.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Now, Devin, I would like for you to explain, under normal circumstances, how do you win a casket match?
You toss a motherfucker into the casket and then shut the lid.
And by then, and only then, does the match end because the bell rings, signifying that that's how you won, correct?
Correct. Except for Survivor Series 1992.
Oh, what happened at Survivor Series 1992?
Taker hit him with the urn, knocked his ass out, pinned him as if he pile drove him, and then 1, 2, 3, ding, 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 and then put him in the casket.
Yeah, that's what blew my mind. Like, that happens. Now, the man who arguably probably helped create the rules for this match is on commentary, Vince, and then tells him, okay, now he's pinned him. Now he has to put him in the casket to win. My man, you counted a 3 count for the pinfall, and you rang the bell. The match is over. You don't need to put him in the casket now.
That's why I was confused. Whenever he did that, I was like, did I miss something where it's not a casket match? It's just a regular match and he brought it out as a threat for after? But no, it was a casket match. I'm really confused.
I will say, however, when he rolls him in there and then he puts the lid on it, it's one of the old school caskets where the lid is separate. The fact that, dude, it was a very cool visual to see him hammering the nails into it.
Yeah. And he was fucking hammering that shit hard because chunks of the wood were coming off. I was like, God damn,
I
Mark.
love it, though.
Yeah.
There was like a couple of times where he fucking just pinged them bastards in with one hit. And I was like, man, imagine if he got all 6 of those coffin nails in one hit like that. Just what a bad motherfucker. Like, run from this man.
Yeah.
This man can mark you for death and fucking put a nail in your coffin like that. Run from this man. This is not a man. This is a goddamn monster. But yeah, Undertaker wins in 5 minutes and 27 seconds. How fucking wild is it that Vince probably looked at Big Boss Man and Nails and Taker and Kamala and was like, I'd stick on a pole match. Sounds fucking interesting on paper. A casket match. It sounds even more interesting on paper. You got less than 6 minutes, boys.
Fuck. But one was infinitely better than the other.
Very true.
I'll let you pick which one you believe that could be.
The coffin match, obviously. The gimmick,
the Undertaker.
the gimmick sells itself. But here's the funny part: if you put these matches in the Halloween Havoc pay-per-view that we covered last month, these both could belong on the spin the wheel, make the deal thing. Yeah. So that moment when Survivor Series does the spin the wheel, make the deal gimmick better without the fucking wheel or a deal. So let's move on to the main event, which is the longest match of the night, the best match of the night.
Yeah, no shock.
And the better Survivor Series meeting of these two. Bret Hart defends the World Wrestling Federation Championship against the Intercontinental Champion, Shawn Michaels. This is before they had their beef with one another. This is before the infamous Montreal Screwjob, one of their many matches that they've had with one another. And I will say this, even the Montreal match, I have never, ever seen a bad Bret versus Shawn match.
God, no.
Even though, in my opinion, and I'm sure a lot of people will agree with me, and I know you probably will too, their best match was the Iron Man match at WrestleMania 12.
I mean, that's like once in a lifetime.
That is arguably one of the greatest WrestleMania matches that has ever existed, top 5 easily.
Yes.
However, we're getting a match where, if you really stop to think about it, it's just a couple of years removed from Bret Hart being a tag team specialist, and he's on a hell of a run with his singles career. Shawn Michaels, on the other hand, is just really getting started with his singles career. And 2 of your biggest stars that have ever been in your company started as tag teams.
Mm-hmm. Well, their careers have always kind of mirrored each other, but just almost like a Batman and Joker's sort of scenario.
Yeah. The thing I loved the most about this match was how solid the work was, how snug the work looked, the selling, the crowd buying into it, the crowd actually buying into Shawn winning some of these fucking moments.
Yes. Except for the teardrop suplex, which nobody actually liked.
Yeah, I do want to talk about that for a second. Okay, so Shawn didn't always use the sweet chin music, even though it was part of his arsenal. It was used as a setup move for this finisher, which was the teardrop suplex. And I'll never understand why anybody in their right mind was like, Shawn Michaels does this really amazing on-point crescent kick every fucking time. And it looks devastating as shit. And the crowd fucking eats it up every time it happens because they're like, oof. Why is this man using the most basic bitch ass suplex to the point that it is his finisher? He fucking hits it on Bret in this match. Bret kicks out of this motherfucker, and nobody really thinks anything of it. Like, back in the day, if you kicked out of somebody's finisher, it was a big deal, right?
Right.
Why in the fuck would you give Shawn such a lackluster finishing maneuver?
And what's funny is he hits it well. It's just so underwhelming.
It really is, man. And God, I feel like if the super kick was his finisher, then it would have been like, oh, fuck. Like when he hits it, it's like, it looked devastating even then. I mean, he didn't have all the theatric of like, warming up, quote unquote, warming up the band in the corner and all that shit. But I mean, he fucking threw it like he always does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And of course, like Bret is Bret in this match. And really, if you've seen Bret and Shawn work matches and then they work each other, it's always super impressive. And this was no different. Bret and Shawn always put a great fucking show on. They give you your money's worth. The finish of the match, like, was a little humorous to me, though, because, like, when Shawn goes up to that rope, you're thinking, what's he gonna fucking do? And he just, like, he gets caught in the sharpshooter. And it comes out.
Dude, that shit was so crisp.
I know. And because I always talk about how nobody, not even Sting, sorry, nobody puts that finisher on like Bret does.
Mm-hmm.
It looks good when he does it. He cinches it up and it looks very tight knit and like packaged where like nobody's getting out of that motherfucker, dude. Like, period. But what I laugh at the most is when he's got him locked in or whatever. This is before tap outs were a thing. Like people tap out to a finisher. So, you see Shawn just flailing and the referee's like, what do you say? And you see Shawn say, yes. Yes, and then you can read Shawn's lips in this moment where he says, fuck, I said yes, and then they fucking ring the bell. So, to end the pay-per-view, Bret is standing victorious in the ring, and fucking Santa Claus comes out.
Yeah, it's something that I probably would have cut out, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
was that a 90s thing?
It had to have been, dude.
Okay.
I mean, look, it's the day after Thanksgiving. They're in Ohio, which, why the fuck would Santa Claus stop in Ohio first? Just why? Look, I got family in Ohio. I can talk all this shit I want, okay?
He's just trying to get it over with, dude.
Yeah, he fucking is, dude. He's like, let me stop at this fucking goddamn hellhole.
Fuck. Yeah. Go Buckeyes.
Exactly. Yeah. Go Buckeyes. Yeah, exactly. But no, put this finish of the show in like 2022. Like I talked about this off air. This would have been somebody disguised as Santa Claus beating the piss out of Bret Hart to set up the next feud for the championship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't really get too many feel-good endings anymore.
No, everything's got to be like a royal fuckover, and this is no exception. It should have been, though, but yeah, Bret just fucking celebrates, and Santa Claus and him go off the air together, and you're just kind of like, oh, that was something. But yeah, Survivor Series 1992. Just, out of the four pay-per-views that we've covered from 1992 this year from the WWF, were the Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, or Survivor Series, where does each one like stand for you? What was your favorite one?
Oh God. Well, so I would say that the Royal Rumble pay-per-view was not very good. The Royal Rumble match was what makes it so iconic.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Like, because we even said as much in January, where it was like, wow, what a fucking Rumble, but what a fucking lackluster undercard it was.
Yeah. So, is it fair to say that that might be at the bottom of the list?
Yeah, I would say it's fair. And I gotta tell you, dude, I didn't think the WrestleMania was terrible. I just thought it was very hit or miss. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that may have been too loaded of a card.
Which is so weird to say for Romania, but
from that year.
Yeah.
And weirdly, the SummerSlam pay-per-view should have been better than it was. The Bulldog and Bret match was the best match of the fucking night.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, again, it's Bret Hart in the main event. There's no surprise there of it being good.
And then you got this one where I got to be honest, I kind of felt the most entertained by this pay-per-view.
Yeah, I say that's fair.
And I think it's because most of these matches did what they needed to do. None of them really overstayed their welcome. I mean, maybe the Survivor Series match itself did, but the thing is like it's an elimination style match, so it's gonna run a little long.
Well, not only that, but if if the Survivor Series match at the Survivor Series pay-per-view lasted like 5 minutes, then people would have been pissed.
Yep. So I think card lineup and quality, this was good. Even though it felt like a fucking glorified house show, I gotta say this was probably the best pay-per-view that the WWF did in 1992.
That shouldn't surprise you because house shows are usually pretty fucking fun.
True. As we stated before at the top of the program, this is Rage in the Nick Cage November, so you can't just have the wrestling, you gotta have the Nick Cage. So next week, we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about Nick Cage's The Color Out of Space, which is actually a very, very visually pleasing film.
I have not seen it.
I cannot wait for you to see it. It's pretty fucking good.
All right, I'm in.
Man, it's Lovecraft. Come on now.
Okay, there we go then. Okay.
Yeah, I'll sell you on it. It's Nick Cage on a farm, and it's Lovecraft. And then after that, we're going to hit you with the AEW Full Gear review. And then after that, we're going to hit up Prisoners of the Ghostland. So got plenty of shit coming your way. Visit supermediabrospodcast.com for past, present, and future episodes. Check out all the other shows on the Odd Pods Media Network by visiting oddpodsmedia.com. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on social media. Leave us a rating and review at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, Podchaser. Buy our merch. We have a ton of it. It needs to belong to you. Buy a Raglan tee. Buy a hoodie. Buy a fucking beer koozie. Get drunk and listen to us.
Yes,
Keep your beer cold. Keep your beer colder than the Undertaker's icy veins. Other than that, we ain't got shit.
Nah, player.
It's time to roll out this bitch because it is late. This has been episode 249, WWF Survivor Series 1992. Until next week, I'm Richie.
I'm Devin.
Shades on.
We're off.